Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast, which is going to feature a little bit of everything. We're going to have really warm, beautiful weather all weekend long. Then next week, we're going to be getting bitter cold that's going to originate straight up from the Arctic Circle. So we're going to be talking about temperatures that could swing by about 70, maybe even 75 degrees in the span of about 48 hours. Let's get into it. Let's start things out by taking a look at what we've got in terms of that overall forecast for us. So we've got the sun that'll be certainly in place for us here as we head over the next little while with those temperatures rising on up into the 60s. By the way, I should have mentioned this earlier on. You got a comment or a question, type it in below and I'll try and answer those comments, and I should answer those questions for you as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we are talking about, again, those temperatures that'll be on the warm side for the weekend ahead, and then more snow and really bitter cold for next week. That sunshine already starting to do some of its magic there, melting off some of that snowfall for us in around the Denver area. We officially picked up 5 inches of snow between Wednesday night and Thursday morning, yesterday morning. So a pretty good little snowstorm, our 8th snowstorm since the start of the calendar year, and our record snowiest start to a calendar year on record here in Denver. That'll continue next week, but not for now. The melt, it begins today, and it's already underway. Those temperatures rising up somewhere right around 50 degrees for us here in Denver for a high. And that is not bad at all for us for this time of year. That's going to be a couple degrees above normal. Southwesterly winds kicking up that downsloping, and that'll mean temperatures on the warmer side. Though it is a little bit on the cooler side for many of us right now. Still looking at some 40s and 50s along the eastern plains. Greeley on the cold side at 33, and that little cold pool up there in Weld County. Meantime, mountains 20s and 30s. And by the way, should also mention, if you're skiing this weekend, bluebird weather, and the mountain's going to get socked with some snow next week. But for now, this upcoming weekend, looks like we stay on the snow-free side again for now. Meantime, closer look in here at the metro area. Temperatures generally in the 40s for us around most of us. For most of us, Fort Collins at 38, the cold spot, and then you get into the mountains, of course, 20s and 30s, but not all that bad for this time of year. Sunshine abound through the weekend ahead. Then that trouble arrives by your Monday afternoon, more into Monday night when our cold front arrives from the north and west. And that'll bring us that chance for what's going to be an interesting pattern as we end the next week, with the potential for 3 days straight worth of snowfall and really cold temperatures. I'll explain that in just a second. Meantime, tomorrow, hey, you want to get outside and have let's say next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sounds a little ominous with all that cold and all that snow. It should be a little bit. Well, this weekend, fantastic for any outdoor activities. So make sure you're getting outside and getting that fun that outdoor fun in tomorrow. Of course, we're still going to be dealing with that melting snow, so hikes or park days, things like that are probably out of the equation, but certainly nice for a stroll around your favorite parks as we head through the daytime hours for your day tomorrow. Highs in a few spots probably get up over 60 degrees in a few areas, but most of us probably stuck in the mid to upper 50s. That's about 10 degrees above the norm for this time of year. So again, really not all that bad for the middle to now end part of the month of February. But then those changes start to arrive, as I mentioned, by your Monday and into your Tuesday. Meantime, all that recent snowfall that we've had, putting a pretty serious dent into our drought. Denver, you might remember this, about 2 months ago, was at an extreme level of drought. That's the second highest level of drought on the drought monitor. We're now at a moderate drought, which is the second lowest level of drought according to the drought monitor. In fact, it's the lowest level of overall drought for us. So long story short, in Denver, we picked up close to 2 inches worth of precipitation since the start of the year, and that is making a serious difference in that drought. And if only that snow had started 2-3 days earlier, we could have avoided the worst of the impacts from the Marshall Fire. Meantime, snowpack about 93% of where it should be. Season to date, the mountains, despite the fact that the last 6 weeks we basically see no snow in the mountains, the water is still there. Of course, it's the water that we really ultimately care about once all that melts on off. That is such a key supply of water, not only for us here in Colorado, but throughout much of the southwestern United States. The good news is that water is there, and we're going to be boosting these numbers with that string of snow days for us next week. So the mountains, a bit more, I should start by saying there's a bit more uncertainty for Denver and the Front Range in terms of how much snow we might get as we get through the next couple of days, through next week. But the bigger certainty is the mountains are going to get a very healthy amount of snowfall next week. And it all starts on up. Let's kind of back things up a little bit here. Starting kind of Monday afternoon, Monday night, we see that snow moving its way into the mountains. Denver, the Front Range is after dark on Monday when we see that snow move its way on through. I do think we'll have some issues for the Tuesday morning commute. Speaking of Tuesday morning, it'll likely be still snowing in around Denver. And then, as I mentioned, we kind of enter into this long-term pattern for next week where it's probably going to be snowing nonstop from, get this, Monday night through all of Tuesday, perhaps all of Wednesday and early Thursday. So that could be on the order of about 60 straight hours of snow for us next week. Now, I do think we'll probably get some periodic breaks in there in Denver, and also don't want to kind of overhype it. It's going to be mostly pretty light stuff for us, especially Tuesday, most of Wednesday. The snow is going to be just kind of flurries, light snow, barely accumulating, if at all. But again, it's going to be snowing pretty much continuously for about 2.5 straight days next week. Then by Thursday, finally comes to a close. We could get a little burst of snow before it all ends on your Thursday morning, and then again, it'll come to a close by the time you get into your Thursday midday, and then we should start to warm back up again. So probably a big question you got in your mind is how much snow are we looking at next week? And this is just one computer forecast model, but this is the one that, after looking at some of the data, I think is probably closest in line with what I'm thinking at this point. Folks, the mountains, again, a good amount of snow. Boy, this is just needed. Mother Nature, if you're watching, thank you. First of all, we are looking at a couple of feet of snow for us into the mountains. Vail, Aspen, the I-70 mountains should do really well from this. The San Juan's going to get on this. And the northern mountains, even a little less up there, but still 10 inches plus for us in places like Steamboat Springs, Winter Park. I don't think anybody is complaining about that. Denver, I think it's going to be on the order of about 3 to 6 inches for us next week. That's an early guess, but we should get some snow out of this as we get later on into probably the main snow times for us would be on Tuesday morning in Denver, and then once again as we get into your Wednesday night and Thursday morning as well. But it's a cold one. It's a very cold snow. Don't want to overlook those temperatures. We'll drop below zero a couple of mornings next week, probably around 10 degrees for a high on Tuesday. Very, very cold stuff. Sunday up to around 60 degrees. So we're all over the place with those temperatures, and probably looking at a good 60 plus degree swing between Sunday and Tuesday, with a very, very sharp swing in those temperatures. And by the way, for next Monday and Tuesday, I think we will be needing those snow shovels because we get a burst of snow on Tuesday morning. That should put down a couple of inches of snow in around the metro area. So hopefully it gives you a pretty good idea about what we can expect over the next few days. Take a look here at Facebook and see if we got any comments and questions about all this active weather, right? We're all over the place here, folks. There is no doubt about that as we head over the next little while, but we do, again, get the possibility for some of that snowfall for us here as we head over the next, again, probably a week or so. We're going to be looking at maybe 3 or 4 straight days worth of snowfall. So hopefully that answers all of your comments and questions for you. And we'll be looking at, again, a fair bit in the way of snow next week. Until then, enjoy the beautiful weather. We'll be right around 60 degrees for us both Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And that's when the cold kicks in, and so does the snow as well. So thanks again for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the absolutely wonderful weather this weekend.